So welcome back to my garage. This is Gamer Dom. I'm taking a look at the third of the Valentine's offer tanks that Wargaming put on sale, heavily reduced this weekend on the EU server anyway, so I'm sure in North America you will also get some kind of deal at some point, but at the moment the three sort of Valentine type themed tanks, so that's the Matilda Black Prince, the Matilda 4 and this one, the Valentine II, are all pretty heavily reduced. This one, the Valentine, you can buy it in two ways at the moment. It's basically on sale for 2 more days, so it's Saturday today, so it's until the end of, well, I guess it will be when the clocks go over it, whenever it is, 5 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday. But check the premium shop before you rely on my word on that. But you can buy the Valentine II at the moment with a garage slot and 30 days of premium for £7.75, which I don't think is necessary unless you're really looking for premium at premium time at the moment. I would suggest that's probably not the best way to do it. You can pick up the tank on its own just with a garage slot, also in the shop for, bear with me, a massive £1.92, which is just the tank and a garage slot, which works out at €2.46 according to the EU premium shop. So basically £2 buys you this little thing. It is a tier 4 Russian premium light tank. It is of course the standard Valentine, and this is another one of these tanks that was shipped to Russia during the early stages of the war, with Germany, to help the Russians as they tried to get their war economy moving as quickly as possible. So they shipped something like nearly 4,000 Valentines over to the Russians to help them as part of this Lend-Lease scheme that went on during the war. No idea what the Russians thought of it. I can imagine they weren't too enamoured with it because they didn't like the Matildas either that they sent over. So anyway, in the world of tanks, it is a tier 4 light tank. What's really unique about this tank in terms of its tiering is that it will only see a maximum of tier 4. It has a very special premium matchmaking, or I can't say the word, premium matchmaking that only allows it to see up to maximum of tier 4, which is pretty good. So although it's a light tank, even though it's a light tank, it doesn't get light tank matchmaking, so it will only, and that's a good thing because it is really a heavy tank disguised as a light, which is common theme with a lot of these British original infantry tanks, as they called them. They were very slow moving, heavy armoured, generally fairly lightly gunned, because they were designed after the First World War to basically support infantry as they marched across the heavily trenched and mined landscape. Of course, when the Second World War came along, Blitzkrieg changed everything to do with tanks, and these things were pretty much obsolete straight away. However, it takes years to design new vehicles, and so the British used them for a long time, and then when they couldn't use them anymore, they shipped them off to Russia for them to use them. So let's have a look at this little thing. It's actually got quite a lot of hit points. For a tier 4, it's got 380 hit points, which is a lot, really. It needs them because it is so slow moving, and it will take a lot of shots. So yeah, it's only what is it, 16 tons, has an engine power of 140 horsepower, but because it's quite a relatively, it's probably about half the weight of the Matildas, so therefore that engine power will give it a little bit more speed. So it's capable of 32 kph and a traverse speed of 50, which is very good actually. So it's relatively mobile for a sort of heavy light tank, if I can call it that. So in terms of armour, it's got really good armour. You know, it's a tier 4 tank, and it has hull armour that is 60 all the way around, which is pretty meaty. And actually, looking at that front, it's pretty good angling there. Certainly this front plate is very good, and even the lower plate is pretty good angled down. There's a fairly flat bit here, but 60 mils at tier 4, bearing in mind you'll probably get tier 2s and tier 3s in your match, is pretty good. And the fact is all the way around. So if a light tank thinks, right, I've got you bang to right, so I'm going to circle around the back of you, put some shots into the rear, well, good luck there. It's exactly the same armouring at the back as it is at the front. Turret is likewise very, very strong. 65mm this time. It's a bit flatter, certainly at the side, but it's not bad at all. 65mm is pretty tough nut for most people to crack. So it's also a very small tank, low silhouette, which makes it quite hard to hit, particularly at longer ranges. So yeah, that's all good. Biggest problem with this tank, bar none, is its gun. It has the most pathetic pop gun you've ever seen. If you thought the 2-pounders that the British tanks come with is hopeless, you'll dream of it in this thing. So it comes with this 45mm Russian gun, and it's just a very, very poor gun. They describe it as a tier 2 gun. It's that weak. So you've got a tier 2 gun on a tier 4 light tank. It's the same gun as that weird spaceship looking premium the BT SV has, and that's notorious for having an appalling gun. So it fires pretty quickly, so that's a good thing about it. 26 rounds per minute. But its penetration is only 51 with standard ammunition. And bearing in mind, you know, this thing alone itself, if you came up another Valentine, which has 60 millimeters of armour, that's before you take into account any sort of angling or edges that you have to get through. That's 60. So 51 versus 60, good luck there. You're never going to pen it. And even its premium is pretty pathetic. It's 84, which is not particularly great. That's APCR. HE, well, you know, what are you going to expect? It's meaningless. A 45mm HE shell is not going to do anything, and sure enough, it's only 23. Alpha is likewise very low, 47 for the AP and the APCR rounds. So again, pretty bad. Also has the aim time is pretty reasonable actually, 1.7, so you know that's good. That makes up for it. And dispersion is pretty, yeah, it's like all these sort of lower tier tanks. They tend to be better at short to medium range. You start sniping with them and they're not so good. So 0.41 on the dispersion. So that gun is its biggest weakness, and also given its rate of fire, you will find that you run out of shells quite quickly. It carries what seems to be quite a lot, 45, 55, 61 shells, but if you're firing 26 rounds per minute and you're not penetrating that many, you will quickly find you're running low on ammo. One other thing to say about it, the view range is not too bad. For a low tier tank it's 350, which is pretty good. Equipment wise, well, I mean, you can pretty much, if you can be, a lot of people don't bother putting equipment on lower tier tanks. I do if I'm A, looking to keep them, or B, it's a premium that I'm definitely keeping. So, you know, and really pretty much anything goes on this thing. I've got light spawner just because you tend to get people firing a lot of HE at you because they can't pen you, and therefore putting the spool liner on, we're putting better protection on it, 20% against any kind of HE hits, and also from ramming, and also 20% improvement for the crew. I put improved ventilations because that's plus 5% to the crew's skills, which is good. And I put toolbox because you're a relatively slow moving tank and I want to keep moving as quickly as possible. You know, generally in these things, if you get tracked, when you stop for too long, you'll attract the artillery and they'll take you down. Now the other options you've got, there's no gun ram option for this tank, so you can get an enhanced gun lane drive. I'm not sure it's necessarily worth it on this. Coated optics is a possibility, help that view range a bit more, but you're relatively slow, so it's likely that some of the lighter, speedier tanks will be ahead of you, so I haven't bothered with that. Binos would be a waste in my book, because you're not really going to be sniping with this thing for any length of time, or a camo net. But similarly, although it's a light tank, it's a heavy light tank. You're going to be sitting in you're not going to be sitting in a bush where the camo can take advantage. So that's what I've put: toolbox, spool liner, and ventilation. One other thing just to note on this tank is it's not a great crew trainer. It only has a 3-man crew. There's a commander, a driver, and a loader, which, given the fact most often you get a light tank, or you get a premium tank to train up your crews as well as generate extra credits, means that this is a bit of a waste of time for that. So yeah, I don't buy it for that. Buy it as a bit of a fun thing. I mean, I bought mine when it was on heavily discounted. I've hardly played it. 13 games I've played, and I bought it because there was a guy in one of my old clans who had one, and we used to go off and just play the odd stress relief game platoon up, because being a tier 4, you know you're going to be top tier and you can have a bit of a laugh. But if I'm honest, it's not a great tank in my view. So let's go and have a look and see if we can actually do anything with it. So Saturday morning, will there be many people playing? Okay, so we're on Wide Park. It's obviously a tier 4. Matchmaking's not been generous to us. We've got more than half the team is tier 4. Yeah, we're never going to penetrate the Matilda. The Hetzer's going to be hard work frontally anyway. They've got a Valentine II as well. There's 2 of us on this team. Anyway, let's go and see what we can do. I think I will go and do some poking over the middle. There is 1 artillery on their side. There we go. So you can see instantly it's not lightning fast, but it's not terribly slow. It gets away reasonably well, and you can see the traverse on it is pretty good too. So, you know, mobility wise, plus yeah, gets a big thumbs up on this tank. Whoops, just came to a virtual stop going over that slope, going through that gate. So what have we got here? Oh, they've got an AMX 40. Well, there's no way we can pen him. So let's see. Oh, a bit slower coming up this slope. Totally we can hit. So I can't pen him. Going to premium. Now I can pen him. He can't pen me. I have to use my repair kit and get back down off the hill. That Lux is hitting me hard. It's got a great start. We're 4 down. 4 tanks dead. Track him there. See if we can kill him. The gun is pretty accurate, really. It's actually not a bad gun for accuracy. It's just a terrible gun for penetration. Lux is coming to give me a bit of a hard time. Tons of 2G at that range shouldn't pin me, because I can't hit him. There's a Matilda over this side. Of course, I'm going to have to use premium for him. It's a Valentine. Yeah, he got me. So you can see there the pen on the gun is just its major weakness. You will bounce shots. I bounced a lot of lower tier shots, but you know, eventually everything dies, right? If you take enough shots, you will get shot down. We took down one of their heavies, which well, it's a heavy. The duck is not a heavy, but in this sort of tier, it's going to be pretty tough to win, to beat rather. So we took him down, which was something for the team, but it looks like we're going to lose this thing. Can't see this Lux seems to want to drive out in front of people on its side, which is a bit silly, really. So I've now lost his engine, which is no, but he got the Valentine II, so that's good. Lux in it, so out. So anyway, we'll come back in a minute when the I don't know, maybe we'll see what this guy can do. Oh, they're looking the wrong way. That's pretty silly. Ah, but he's died. What can the birch gun do? Oh, we got the toady. Oh no, that was the Hetzer got him. So it's 8-11, which is interesting. Someone's got their BDI on the birch. There's a Lux. Don't fire into. Oh, good grief! How did he manage to kill him? That shot must have sailed over that gate, because normally HE gets stopped by the hard cover. Come on, kill him. Birch gun's having a blinder. Come on, you can take one more. You can kill that Matilda. Kill him. Oh, unlucky. Now you got him. Oh, no you haven't. Something came around the other side. Yeah, the air mix. So what have we got left? We've got our other Valentine II. It's an interesting matchup this. We've got Valentine II against a Matilda 4. And the Hetzer. Hetzer's a very powerful tank. Very powerful indeed. Valentine's coming round. Matilda's coming round. Nice shot. So this is going very. Sorry, the game froze there. Don't know why. Nice shot again. So this Valentine, can he carry it? So I'm showing off my Valentine, but actually this guy's showing me how to do it. Now against this, he's going to try and side scrape, which is a good thing. Well, it would be a good thing to do against most tanks, but of course the Hetzer has got the derp gun, and the derp gun fires HE, and HE will still hit even through. Oh, he's taken out that. Now comes the Hetzer. Can he bring his gun round in time? No. Oh, but he got lucky. Oh, he got very lucky. Wow. Oops, don't want to shout. He's got 4 kills. I should have just played with him, really, shouldn't I? Just rather than doing my bit. So he's got to kill the artillery, who's more than likely, if it's got any sense, he would have moved up It's an interesting matchup because the artillery can do a lot of damage to this Valentine. Oh, there he is. Oh no! Now he knows where he is. This is should be good night Vienna or good night Valentine. It's just the only danger he's got is as he comes over the top. Is he going to go around the bridge? I think he is. He's going to go through the tunnel. Yeah, looks like that's what he's planning. Oh, and it was exactly what the other guy thought as well. But you can see the damage there. It's not going to scare anybody. Can he kill him before he gets a chance to fire? Yes, he can. GG. Well, I didn't expect to win on that one. Good job. So I'm pleased I stayed with that one. I was tempted just to drop out. So we did all right, actually. We got a third class, we got a sharpshooter, fire for effect, and cool-headed. We finished third on experience. What's that? Fifth on damage. Yeah, that Boris guy did well. He got 6 kills and a team kill by the look of it. Well, oh well. What did we do? 25 shots, so high volume shots. So that's what I'm saying. I mean, I only lasted 2 minutes, nearly 3 minutes into the game, and I've used about a third of my ammo. 19 shots hit, 10 penetrated for that 470 damage. We took 31 hits, only 6 of which penetrated. Now, of course, that's disproportionate because at one point I was being fired at by one of those Panzer IIs, which just has the machine gun. So you get a lot of bounces off those. But you can see the armour is pretty good, especially if you can keep it reasonably angled. We blocked 822 damage, which is pretty useful. 25,000 credits. After costs, only made 13,000, so it's not a great credit generator. But in good crew experience with the premium, it's a ×3, that's why. So 700 base experience ×3 because they're doing some kind of offer this weekend, plus bonus for premium gave me 2,500 experience, which is pretty reasonable. So GG to that Valentine player, played it really, really well. Finished top on experience. He wasn't top on damage. That was down to the Hetzer, but the Hetzer has got the bigger gun, so you'd expect that in some ways. And this Lux, he was probably having a wet dream over the matchup he got, because a Lux in a tier 4 game, you just lick your lips with joy. So there you go. Take it out again. Okay, this time we're on Ensk. It's I don't know why I'm surprised, it's a tier 4 game because that's all you're ever going to get in the Valentine II. And there is 1, 2, 3, 4 Valentines on our team and 3 on the enemy side. How funny. So it looks like one of our Valentines, like me, has had it for a little while, and the other 2 have just bought it on the enemy side. Like 2 have just bought it and 1's had it for a little while, so interesting. You always get this when there's some kind of discount on tanks, everyone goes off and buys them, which is not surprising because they're only on for a limited period. So we are like a heavy tank, so we are going to go into the city and try and do a bit of side scraping. You can see that all the power, of course I can't drive and talk, that would be just too complicated. So we'll go down here, watch out for the charm. So only Stuart, oh good grief, what this lot doing. Trying to get into a position where I can do some side scraping, that's really what I want to do. Oop. Game seems a bit laggy today, I don't know why. Oh, there's the other Valentine, which is not going to be much use. Don't want to block this guy. What's your front, idiot? That's pretty much the definition of a stupid fight there, because I can't pen him and he can't pen me. This guy, however, I can. And he's gone. Don't think I did any damage on him actually, now I look at him. But he didn't do anything on me either. So let's push around here. I'm not so worried about that Valentine, because as I said before, he can't pen me and I can't pen him. I am, however, slightly worried about that Marder, because that's not really powerful. But not like that. So we jinked. Right, I'm going to go and help against these Valentines. I'm loading premium because I can't pen them otherwise. One down, two down. Had to use premium because, you know, what did I say, 50 something penetration with these guns with standard ammunition against 60 odd armour. You got no chance. So you've got to use premium. Try and kill this arty first. Someone's in our base. Not whistling in. He's dead. The priest is dead. So we can push up now. So I think we've got this in the bag. It hasn't been a great game, to be absolutely honest, but you see the limitations of this tank. The penetration on it is just appalling. Even with premium, you bounce a good few. I mean, the good thing about it is you are virtually impregnable in these sort of tiers. But so it's a BT7, so where is he? Anybody seen him? It's a very quick tank, could be anywhere. Should we cap it out as well? I don't like capping it out because it's leaving victory points on, leaving your hit points and therefore HP on the table, but he's very, very quick. He could be anywhere at all. So gun fires quickly. Tank moves relatively quickly compared to the other Valentine's offer tanks. Great armour for its tier. Only ever sees tier 4, so you know that's a big advantage for it. As you can see here, second class mastery, Reaper, sharpshooter, duelist, fighter, shellproof, and cool-headed, which is what you always get in this tank, it seems. We finished 4th on no, I've got that selected wrong. 2nd on XP. Only 4th on damage. Fired 26 shots, hit with 20 of them, 9 penetrations. That's shocking gun penetration. Nearly 400 damage. Took 12 hits, not a single one of them penetrated. 760 damage blocked. didn't make many credits, it's because I had to use premium, and that just cuts into your profit margin. So 22,800. Ammo resupply was what's that, 7,000. So yeah, quite a lot. So we only made 15,000. In terms of XP, 1,500 XP with the benefit of the 500 for being a premium. So yeah, you know, I think the only reason for getting one of these things is having a bit of a relaxed platoon up with people, or just playing on your own, to be honest. When you've had a stressful few games and you can't seem to buy a win, take this thing out, because your armour means you will stand up against most enemy. However, the gun is severely lacking in penetration, and you will need to turn to premium in most cases to do a huge amount of damage. So but at the end of the day, what is it, £2? Yeah, you know, it's up to you. I bought it, as I say, because there was a guy I was in a clan with at one stage who had one, and we spent a series of few days just taking it out in combined platoon, and it was a bit of a laugh, because it was, I can't remember, half price at the time, so it cost very little money, and I thought, right, let's give it a go. But since then I've barely used it. I have used my Black Prince and I have used my Matilda 4, because at least they generate a few credits. This thing, being tier 4, doesn't really generate that many credits, and so it's a laugh tank. I think that would be my criterion. If you want to buy it because you think you can have fun with it, but don't expect to do much crew training, because it's only a 3-man crew, and credits aren't going to be fantastic either. But as a tank, it's pretty good, kind of fun. But that gun is going to troll you and drive you insane. Anyway, it's been Gamer Dom. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of these tanks. Have you bought any of the Valentine's offers? If so, which one? Do you agree with me that of the 3 I would choose Black Prince first, then Matilda, then Valentine? That would be my order of priority, but you might have a different view, so let me know. Anyway, thanks for watching. Enjoy yourselves this weekend. Have fun. Remember, it is just a game, and I'll see you again another time. Cheers.